The loves that break the fastest are the loves of wicked people. Good morning, everyone. Today we are going to explore a thought-provoking idea, one that touches the core of human relationships. It's something we've all seen, perhaps even experienced. The loves that break the fastest are the loves of wicked people. Now, at first glance, this might seem like a harsh statement, but if we dig deeper, we'll uncover some profound truths about love, integrity, and human behavior. So let's take a moment to break this down and understand why the love of the wicked is often the first to crumble. Number one, love based on self-interest is unstable. Love is one of the most profound and beautiful experiences in life, yet its depth and endurance depend largely on its foundation. When love is built on self-interest, it becomes inherently unstable and fragile. This type of love, which can be described as transactional, lacks the essence of genuine care and commitment. It thrives not on mutual respect or understanding, but on fulfilling needs or desires. Such relationships often falter when circumstances shift or when one party's needs are no longer being met. To truly understand why self-interest undermines the stability of love, we must first examine its essence. Self-interested love is not about the person being loved, it's about what they bring to the table. It could be their wealth, status, connections, or even just the validation they provide. As long as the benefits continue to flow, the love appears steadfast. However, the moment the benefits cease or are outweighed by challenges, the relationship begins to crumble. This is because the focus was never on the person themselves, but on the utility they provided. Imagine a scenario where someone is deeply infatuated with their partner because of their financial success. The relationship might seem harmonious as long as financial stability is maintained. But what happens if that success is lost? If love is tethered to something as external and volatile as wealth, it is destined to falter when circumstances change. Genuine love, on the other hand, sees beyond material possessions or external achievements. It cherishes the individual for who they are, not for what they offer. The fragility of self-interested love is further exposed in moments of adversity. Life is unpredictable, filled with trials and tribulations that test the strength of relationships. Couples who are truly in love face these challenges together, finding strength in their bond. But for those whose love is based on self-interest, adversity often reveals the cracks in their foundation. When times get tough and the transaction no longer benefits one party, they may choose to walk away, prioritizing their needs over the relationship. Another dimension to consider is how self-interest breeds insecurity. When someone loves you for what you provide rather than who you are, there's an inherent fear of losing that value. This creates a cycle of doubt and anxiety as the person being loved constantly questions their worth in the relationship. They might feel pressured to maintain a certain image or standard to keep the love alive, leading to emotional exhaustion and resentment over time. Such insecurity erodes trust, which is the cornerstone of any meaningful relationship. Furthermore, self-interested love lacks the depth required for true intimacy. Intimacy is built on vulnerability, trust, and a genuine connection between two individuals. In relationships driven by self-interest, there is often a reluctance to be vulnerable. After all, if love is conditional, exposing one's flaws or weaknesses might jeopardize the relationship. This fear of vulnerability prevents the development of a deeper bond, leaving the relationship superficial and unsatisfying. The transactional nature of self-interested love also affects its longevity. It's akin to a contract that lasts only as long as the terms are favorable. Once the terms change, the love dissipates. This is starkly different from unconditional love, which is not contingent on circumstances. Unconditional love endures through thick and thin, providing a sense of security and belonging that transactional love cannot offer. Perhaps the most poignant aspect of self-interested love is its inability to foster personal growth. True love encourages individuals to grow, to become the best versions of themselves. It's a partnership where both parties inspire and support each other. In contrast, self-interested love stifles growth, as the focus remains on extracting benefits rather than nurturing the relationship. This lack of mutual growth further weakens the bond, making it susceptible to dissolution. In conclusion, love based on self-interest is inherently unstable because it prioritizes personal gain over genuine connection. It is like a house built on sand, unable to withstand the storms of life. Such relationships may provide short-term gratification but lack the resilience and depth needed for lasting happiness. True love, by contrast, is selfless, enduring, and rooted in mutual respect and care. It is a love that sees beyond the superficial and cherishes the essence of the person. For love to thrive, it must transcend self-interest and embrace the beauty of unconditional giving and receiving. Number 2, the love of the wicked is built on deception. The love of wicked individuals is inherently fragile because it is built on deception. Deception, by its very nature, creates a facade of false reality that cannot endure the test of time. Wicked people often present themselves as charming, kind, or caring, but these traits are merely masks to hide their true intentions. Their relationships are not based on authenticity or mutual respect. Instead, they are carefully constructed to manipulate and exploit others for personal gain. This reliance on deception is what makes their love so fleeting and unsustainable. When someone enters into a relationship with a wicked person, they are often drawn to the illusion that has been skillfully crafted. These individuals know how to say the right things, behave in ways that appear considerate, and create an image of being the ideal partner. However, this image is a calculated ploy to gain trust and control. Over time, as the relationship progresses, the cracks in this facade begin to show. Small inconsistencies or contradictions in their behavior may start to raise doubts. These doubts grow into suspicions, and eventually the truth comes to light. The revelation of their deceit often marks the beginning of the end for the relationship. One of the most damaging aspects of deception in love is the erosion of trust. Trust is the cornerstone of any meaningful and lasting relationship. When someone discovers that the love they believed in was based on lies, it shatters their sense of security and stability. They begin to question not only the relationship, but also their judgment and self-worth. The betrayal cuts deep, leaving emotional scars that can take years to heal. Even if the wicked person tries to repair the damage, the foundation of trust has been irreparably weakened, making it nearly impossible to rebuild the relationship. Deception also creates a cycle of manipulation and control within the relationship. Wicked individuals often use lies to maintain power and dominance over their partners. They may fabricate stories, withhold information, or twist the truth to suit their agenda. This constant manipulation keeps their partner off balance, making them doubt their perceptions and decisions. Such tactics are a form of psychological abuse that diminishes the partner's confidence and independence. Over time, this toxic dynamic drains the relationship of any genuine connection or love, leaving only a hollow shell of what it once seemed to be. Another consequence of deception is the lack of true intimacy in the relationship. Intimacy requires vulnerability, honesty, and a deep understanding of one another. When deception is at play, it becomes impossible to achieve this level of closeness. The wicked person is not genuinely open or honest, and their partner, once aware of the deceit, becomes guarded and mistrustful. This emotional distance further weakens the bond, making the relationship even more susceptible to collapse. Deception also has a time limit. It cannot be sustained indefinitely. Lies have a way of unraveling, often at the most inconvenient times. Whether it's through a slip of the tongue, an uncovered secret, or the intervention of an outside party, the truth eventually emerges. When it does, the impact is devastating. The partner feels betrayed and humiliated, and any feelings of love or attachment they may have had are replaced with anger and resentment. The relationship, already fragile due to its deceptive foundation, crumbles under the weight of this revelation. Furthermore, the love of wicked individuals is not genuine love. True love is selfless, patient, and rooted in mutual respect and care. In contrast, the love of the wicked is self-serving and conditional. They love only as long as it serves their interests or fulfills their desires. Once their objectives are achieved or their needs change, their supposed love fades away. This lack of authenticity means that their love is not sustainable, as it lacks the depth and sincerity required to endure challenges and hardships. The fleeting nature of love built on deception is a reflection of the hollow intentions behind it. Wicked individuals do not enter relationships to share their lives or build meaningful connections. They do so to manipulate and take advantage of others. Their love is more about possession and control than about genuine affection or commitment. This distorted view of love ensures that their relationships are inherently unstable and short-lived. In conclusion, the love of wicked individuals crumbles because it is rooted in deception, manipulation, and self-interest. Deception may provide short-term gains, but it cannot create the lasting trust and intimacy needed for a healthy relationship. As the truth emerges, the relationship falters, leaving pain and disillusionment in its wake. Genuine love, in contrast, thrives on honesty, respect, and authenticity, qualities that wicked individuals are unable to provide. For love to endure, it must be real, selfless, and free from the shadows of deception. Number 3, jealousy and envy fuel their actions. Jealousy and envy are toxic emotions that, when allowed to fester, can destroy even the strongest of bonds. In the context of love, these emotions become especially corrosive, undermining trust, respect, and the very foundation of the relationship. For wicked people, jealousy and envy are often not just occasional feelings, but driving forces behind their actions. They approach relationships with hidden agendas, always comparing themselves to others and feeling threatened by perceived competition. This mindset poisons their love, turning what could be a nurturing connection into a battleground of suspicion, resentment, and manipulation. At its core, jealousy is rooted in insecurity. Wicked individuals often harbor a deep sense of inadequacy, whether they admit it or not. This insecurity drives them to constantly seek validation and control within their relationships. They are perpetually fearful that their partner might find someone better, achieve more success, or shift their attention elsewhere. Instead of addressing these insecurities in a healthy way, they project them onto their partner, creating an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. This toxic dynamic erodes the emotional connection between them, leaving the relationship fragile and unsatisfying. Envy, on the other hand, is the desire to possess what someone else has. For wicked people, this envy often extends beyond material possessions to encompass qualities, achievements, or relationships that others enjoy. In love, this manifests as a constant comparison to others, whether it's envying another couple's happiness, a friend's success, or even their partner's accomplishments. This envy not only creates resentment, but also fuels manipulative behavior. They may subtly undermine their partner's confidence or achievements, all in an effort to level the playing field or feel superior. Such actions chip away at the trust and mutual respect that are essential for a healthy relationship. The hidden agenda of jealousy and envy further complicates matters. Wicked individuals rarely act out of genuine care or affection. Instead, their love is often a means to an end, a way to fulfill their desire, secure their status, or gain an advantage. This underlying motive makes their love conditional and transactional. For instance, they might feign support or encouragement, but only if it aligns with their goals or enhances their image. The moment their partner's success or happiness starts to overshadow their own, their jealousy flares up, leading to passive-aggressive behavior, sabotage, or outright hostility. One of the most damaging aspects of jealousy and envy in love is the way they corrode trust. Trust is the bedrock of any strong relationship, and without it, love cannot thrive. Wicked people, driven by their jealousy, often accuse their partners of infidelity, dishonesty, or ulterior motives, even without evidence. These unfounded accusations create a toxic environment where their partner feels constantly scrutinized and unfairly judged. Over time, this lack of trust breeds resentment, pushing the partner further away and making the relationship even more volatile. Another consequence of jealousy and envy is the inability to celebrate the partner's successes and happiness. In a healthy relationship, partners take pride in each other's achievements and find joy in their shared growth. Wicked individuals, however, see their partner's success as a threat. Instead of celebrating, they feel diminished, as though their partner's accomplishments highlight their own shortcomings. This leads to bitterness and a refusal to support or encourage their partner, further straining the relationship. Such behavior not only stifles the partner's growth, but also creates an imbalance in the relationship, where one person's happiness is consistently overshadowed by the other's jealousy. Jealousy and envy also fuel controlling behavior. Wicked individuals often feel the need to dominate their partner to quell their insecurities. This control can manifest in various ways, such as monitoring their partner's interactions, dictating their choices, or isolating them from friends and family. While they may justify these actions as acts of love or concern, they are, in reality, attempts to assert power and alleviate their feelings of inadequacy. Such control stifles the partner's freedom and individuality, creating a suffocating dynamic that ultimately drives them away. Ultimately, when jealousy and envy infiltrate love, they poison it from within. These emotions prevent genuine connection, fostering instead a relationship built on suspicion, competition, and manipulation. The resentment that wicked individuals harbor due to their jealousy creates a toxic cycle that is nearly impossible to break. Even if the relationship survives for a time, it is marked by constant tension and unhappiness, making it unsustainable in the long run. In conclusion, the love of wicked people is doomed to fail when jealousy and envy drive their actions. These toxic emotions corrode the trust, respect, and mutual care that are essential for a thriving relationship. By constantly looking over their shoulder at others or feeling threatened by their partner's success, they sabotage their own happiness and undermine the relationship's foundation. True love cannot coexist with jealousy and envy. It requires selflessness, support, and a willingness to celebrate the other person's growth and happiness. Without these qualities, the relationship is bound to crumble under the weight of its own toxicity. Number 4, the love of the wicked is conditional. Conditional love is inherently fragile, as it thrives only when specific criteria or circumstances are met. For wicked people, love is not a genuine bond of care or connection, but a transaction contingent on their needs, desires, and expectations. This type of love lacks the depth and resilience required to weather the ups and downs of life. It is an arrangement that persists only as long as their partner serves a purpose or fulfills a role in their lives. Once that purpose is no longer met, the illusion of love shatters, leaving behind betrayal and pain. At its core, conditional love is a selfish construct. Wicked individuals do not love for the sake of loving, they love because they expect something in return. This could be material benefits, emotional validation, status enhancement, or even the satisfaction of controlling someone. Their affection is doled out as a reward for meeting their expectations, and it is quickly withdrawn when those expectations are unmet. Such love is not about cherishing the other person for who they are, but about leveraging the relationship for personal gain. This selfish approach ensures that the relationship is fundamentally unstable, as it hinges on external factors rather than genuine care or commitment. The conditional nature of this love becomes most apparent during times of adversity. Life is unpredictable, and no relationship is immune to challenges. True love offers support, compassion, and understanding during difficult times, creating a safe space for both partners to grow and heal. Conditional love, however, falters in the face of hardship. Wicked individuals lack the empathy and patience needed to navigate these moments. Instead of offering support, they view difficulties as inconveniences or burdens that disrupt their idealized expectations. When their partner falters, be it through a mistake, failure, or moment of vulnerability, their so-called love begins to fade, revealing the conditional and transactional nature of their attachment. Another defining feature of conditional love is its lack of forgiveness. In a healthy relationship, forgiveness plays a vital role in maintaining harmony and trust. Partners acknowledge each other's imperfections and work together to overcome challenges. For wicked people, forgiveness is often absent or given grudgingly. They are quick to hold grudges and use their partner's mistakes as leverage to assert control or diminish their worth. This lack of grace creates a toxic environment where the partner feels constantly judged and inadequate. Over time, this dynamic erodes the emotional connection, leaving the relationship hollow and unsustainable. Conditional love also thrives on fear and insecurity. Wicked individuals often create an atmosphere where their partner feels they must constantly prove their worth to maintain the relationship. This pressure to meet ever-changing expectations breeds anxiety and resentment. The partner may feel like they are walking on eggshells, afraid to make a mistake or express their true feelings for fear of losing the love and approval they crave. This dynamic not only stifles individuality and self-expression, but also prevents the development of a genuine, supportive bond. Moreover, conditional love lacks the depth required for true intimacy. Intimacy is built on vulnerability, trust, and a willingness to accept and embrace each other's flaws. Wicked individuals, however, are incapable of providing this level of openness and acceptance. Their love is conditional on perfection or compliance with their standards, leaving no room for authenticity. This creates a relationship that is superficial at best, where both parties may feel disconnected and unfulfilled. The transient nature of conditional love becomes evident as circumstances change. Over time, people grow and evolve, and their needs and priorities shift. A relationship built on unconditional love adapts to these changes, finding strength in mutual respect and commitment. Conditional love, however, cannot withstand these natural shifts. As soon as the conditions that sustain the relationship change, whether due to a loss of status, a change in appearance, or a decline in utility, the relationship crumbles. The wicked person moves on, seeking someone who better fits their current needs, leaving their partner feeling discarded and devalued. The ultimate tragedy of conditional love is its inability to provide lasting fulfillment. True love is a source of comfort, joy, and strength, offering a deep sense of connection and belonging. Conditional love, on the other hand, is shallow and fleeting. It fails to provide the emotional security and support that both partners need to thrive. Instead, it creates a cycle of dependency and dissatisfaction, leaving both parties unfulfilled and longing for something more meaningful. In conclusion, the love of the wicked is conditional, shallow, and transactional. It exists only as long as circumstances are favorable and expectations are met. Such love is incapable of enduring the trials and tribulations of life, as it lacks the empathy, forgiveness, and resilience that true love requires. When the conditions sustaining the relationship change, the love disappears, leaving pain and disillusionment in its wake. Real love, by contrast, is unconditional and selfless. It endures through challenges, adapts to change, and provides a foundation of trust, support, and genuine connection. Without these qualities, love is nothing more than an illusion destined to crumble under the weight of its own fragility. Number 5. Wicked people struggle with true commitment. True commitment is the foundation upon which enduring love is built. It is a bond that goes beyond mere affection, requiring trust, sacrifice, and a willingness to stand by each other through life's trials. Unfortunately, wicked people often lack the capacity for true commitment. Their relationships are not about mutual respect or shared growth. Instead, they are primarily centered on self-interest. These individuals are not genuinely in love with their partner, but with the benefits and conveniences the relationship provides. This shallow attachment inevitably leads to instability, as their commitment is contingent on circumstances remaining favorable to them. At the heart of true commitment lies the willingness to sacrifice for the well-being of the other person. It involves prioritizing the relationship over selfish desires and being prepared to compromise when necessary. Wicked people, however, are unwilling or unable to make these sacrifices. Their primary focus is on their own happiness and gratification, often at the expense of their partner's needs and feelings. When faced with a choice between their desires and the relationship's health, they almost always prioritize themselves. This self-centeredness prevents them from developing the deep, enduring bond required for true commitment. Hardship is an inevitable part of any relationship. Life's challenges, whether financial difficulties, health issues, or emotional struggles, test the strength and resilience of love. In these moments, true commitment shines as partners come together to support and uplift each other. Wicked people, however, lack the emotional fortitude to endure these hardships. They view such challenges as burdens rather than opportunities to strengthen the relationship. When faced with adversity, they often retreat, becoming distant or abandoning the relationship altogether. Their inability to weather life's storms reveals the superficial nature of their commitment. Compromise is another essential element of true commitment. It requires recognizing that no relationship is perfect and that both partners must sometimes give up something to maintain harmony. Wicked individuals, however, see compromise as a threat to their control or autonomy. They are unwilling to meet their partner halfway, insisting instead on having things their way. This rigidity creates tension and conflict as their partner feels unvalued and unheard. Over time, the lack of compromise erodes the foundation of the relationship, making it impossible to sustain. Wicked people's struggle with commitment is also rooted in their inability to prioritize the long-term well-being of the relationship over immediate gratification. They often make decisions based on short-term desires, ignoring the potential consequences for their partner or the relationship. For instance, they may engage in behaviors that undermine trust, such as dishonesty or infidelity, simply because it serves their immediate interests. This lack of foresight and consideration further demonstrates their inability to commit fully to the relationship. Another key aspect of true commitment is emotional vulnerability. To truly connect with another person, one must be willing to share their fears, dreams, and insecurities. This openness fosters intimacy and trust, creating a strong emotional bond. Wicked people, however, often struggle with vulnerability. They fear exposing their true selves, either out of insecurity or a desire to maintain control. Instead, they keep their partner at arm's length, building walls rather than bridges. This emotional distance prevents the relationship from deepening, leaving it shallow and unsatisfying. Wicked people also struggle with commitment because they view relationships as transactional. They approach love with a "what's in it for me" mentality, treating their partner as a means to an end rather than an equal. This perspective reduces the relationship to a series of exchanges where affection and support are given only when something of value is received in return. Such a dynamic is inherently unstable, as it lacks the mutual respect and care necessary for lasting love. When their partner can no longer fulfill their needs or desires, the wicked person's commitment wanes and the relationship deteriorates. Moreover, their inability to commit is often tied to a lack of accountability. True commitment requires taking responsibility for one's actions and their impact on the relationship. Wicked individuals, however, are quick to shift blame or make excuses when things go wrong. They refuse to acknowledge their faults or make the necessary changes to improve the relationship. This lack of accountability creates a cycle of unresolved issues and growing resentment, ultimately leading to the breakdown of the relationship. In conclusion, wicked people's struggle with true commitment stems from their self-centeredness, fear of vulnerability, and inability to prioritize the relationship over their desires. They lack the emotional maturity and resilience needed to navigate the challenges of love, viewing relationships as transactions rather than partnerships. As soon as difficulties arise, their superficial commitment falters, and the relationship begins to unravel. True commitment requires selflessness, compromise, and a willingness to stand by each other through thick and thin. Without these qualities, love becomes fragile and fleeting, unable to withstand the tests of time and adversity. Number 6, their hearts are hardened. The heart of a wicked person, hardened by pride, bitterness, or an unrelenting desire for control, becomes a barrier to genuine love. This hardness is not a sudden occurrence, but a gradual process shaped by their choices, attitudes, and life experiences. When a heart is hardened, it becomes resistant to vulnerability, trust, and the emotional openness necessary for love to flourish. This closed-off nature creates walls that separate them from others, and over time, these walls become insurmountable, leaving no room for the growth of true, enduring relationships. A hardened heart is often the result of pride. Wicked individuals tend to see themselves as superior, believing they are above the emotional connections that require humility and selflessness. Pride prevents them from acknowledging their faults or the possibility that they might need others. In their eyes, vulnerability is a weakness, and admitting to needing love or support would tarnish the image they have built for themselves. This arrogance makes it nearly impossible for them to form genuine bonds, as love demands an equality of spirit and a willingness to let go of ego. Bitterness is another key contributor to a hardened heart. Wicked people often carry grudges, nurse old wounds, and refuse to let go of past disappointments. This bitterness acts as a poison, seeping into their relationships and distorting their ability to trust or care for others. Instead of seeking healing or resolution, they let these negative emotions fester, using them as a justification for their mistrust and coldness. Over time, this bitterness becomes a defining characteristic, shaping their interactions and preventing them from opening up to love. Control is a third major factor in the hardening of a wicked person's heart. Love, by its very nature, requires a relinquishing of control. It involves allowing someone else into your life and sharing decisions, emotions, and vulnerabilities. For those obsessed with control, this level of openness is intolerable. They fear losing their grip on their environment or their sense of power. As a result, they build emotional walls to keep others at a distance, ensuring that no one can challenge their authority or disrupt their carefully constructed world. These walls, while protecting their sense of control, also isolate them, making love impossible to sustain. Trust is a cornerstone of any meaningful relationship, but a hardened heart is incapable of trusting others. Wicked individuals often view the world through a lens of suspicion, assuming ulterior motives in every gesture of kindness or affection. This mistrust stems from their own tendencies toward manipulation and deceit, projecting their behavior onto others. Because they cannot trust, they sabotage relationships before they have a chance to deepen, ensuring that their fears of betrayal become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Vulnerability, another essential element of love, is seen as a threat by those with hardened hearts. Love requires an openness to being hurt, a willingness to expose your true self in all its imperfections. Hardened individuals, however, perceive vulnerability as a loss of power and a risk they are unwilling to take. They hide behind facades of strength and indifference, refusing to let anyone see their true emotions. This refusal to be vulnerable creates a barrier to intimacy, leaving their relationships superficial and unfulfilling. The walls built by a hardened heart do not just keep others out, they also trap the person within. Wicked individuals, in their efforts to protect themselves from pain or maintain control, cut themselves off from the very experiences that bring joy and connection. Their isolation becomes a prison, and over time they may find themselves lonely and unfulfilled, despite their outward appearance of strength or independence. The emotional numbness they cultivate as a defense mechanism eventually robs them of the ability to experience genuine happiness or love. This hardening of the heart is a self-perpetuating cycle. Each act of pride, each instance of bitterness, and each attempt to maintain control further reinforces their emotional barriers. Over time, these walls become almost impossible to break down as the person becomes more entrenched in their ways. Even when opportunities for love or redemption arise, they are unable to recognize or embrace them, trapped by their own hardened perspective. The impact of a hardened heart is not limited to the wicked individual, it affects everyone around them. Partners, friends, and family members who try to connect with them often find themselves hurt, rejected, or manipulated. The inability of a wicked person to reciprocate love leaves a trail of broken relationships and emotional wounds in their wake. Those who care for them may feel as though they are constantly reaching out to someone who cannot or will not reach back, leading to frustration, sadness, and eventually disengagement. In the end, a hardened heart is a tragedy. It prevents the wicked person from experiencing the most profound aspects of human connection and leaves them isolated in a self-imposed emotional exile. The walls they build to protect themselves from vulnerability ultimately become their greatest obstacle to happiness and fulfillment. Love, in its truest form, requires openness, trust, and a willingness to share one's innermost self. Without these qualities, love cannot thrive, and the hardened heart remains a barren landscape, incapable of nurturing the seeds of a meaningful relationship. To overcome this, one must choose to soften the heart, to embrace humility, seek forgiveness, and let go of the need for control. Only then can the barriers come down, allowing love to enter and transform their life. But for the wicked, this choice is often one they are unwilling to make, leaving their hearts hardened and their lives devoid of true love. So what do we take away from all this? Simple, the loves that are quick to break are those that are built on selfishness, deception, envy, and a lack of commitment. Wicked people may claim to love, but their love is like a paper house. It might look nice from the outside, but it won't last. If you want to build something that lasts, something real, something that will endure the test of time, it has to be based on honesty, unconditional care, mutual respect, and a commitment that goes beyond what you can get in return. Love that is pure, selfless, and built on integrity will always stand strong, even when the storms of life come. In conclusion, remember this: the fastest breaking loves are those driven by selfishness, deceit, and hidden agendas. The true loves that last are the ones where both hearts are open, both are committed, and both are genuinely there for each other. So choose wisely, love wisely, and build relationships that are as strong as they are true. Thank you. Oh.